Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa. This is our match preview for Aston Villa v Nottingham Forest. If you are new to our channel, make sure you are subscribing, smash the like button. That is absolutely huge now on YouTube. So make sure if you are enjoying our content that you are hitting that like button. Let's try and go for 1,000 likes on this one. And most importantly, comment your thoughts in the comment section down below. Villa fans, Forest fans, get involved. So, yeah, big game at Villa Park on Saturday. Something I'm really looking forward to, mainly because it feels like about a month has gone by that we haven't been at Villa Park. And, you know, you sort of routines of going to watch your team and sort of going to your happy place hasn't really been there because of this long break that we've had. So really looking forward to just getting back in the swing of going to watch Aston Villa. But, you know, this is going to be a really, really good game, I think. A tough game, a game that both teams obviously will want to win. I imagine Sarah is going to be echoing around the 4 stands. I know it was echoing around the 1 stand at the Amex, but maybe not so the other 3. So, yeah, Sarah will be in full swing, so that'll be really good as well. And, yeah, Nottingham Forest are doing fantastically well this season. They are just steamrolling through the season, really. There seems to be no sort of drop off when people are saying that there's going to be a drop off this season. It hasn't come yet. And I think 2 absolute gigantic football clubs that go massively under the radar. They get slept on by certain areas of the media and certain fan bases. But, you know, we are 2 huge clubs that are steeped in European football history. And as English football fans, I think both clubs should be cherished because of the achievements that they've both had. Not a lot of clubs have won the European Cup in English football, so I do think we should be both respected a lot more. But yeah, tough game. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a bit of a stat pack, and we're going to stat pack Villa. But while we're here, we'll do exactly the same for Nottingham Forest as well. So we'll have a real in-depth look at Forest. We'll have a look at Villa. We'll have a look at what's been going on behind the numbers this season as well. So we'll start off then with where I normally like to start, a little bit of an overview of Nottingham Forest on how they play. So one of the big things for me and one of the really good aspects of Forest is their shape when they are out of possession, when they become a front 4. The front 4 press for Forest is very engaging, it's very aggressive, and they are always in that sort of front 4 shape, which then leaves a general space for 2 in the centre, and then they've got their back 4 as well. When you'd look at this, you'd say, okay, that's fine, play through that press, and then you're going to be able to isolate the midfield too. There, the beauty of Forest is when you'd say that midfield 2 is going to be isolated. So if we just bring in a player through here, such as we'll find Morgan Rogers, we'll put Rogers, or we'll put Ramsey, whoever I find first. Right, we'll go with Ramsey. So what you'd say is that if Ramsey's found a bit of half space and is able to drive into this area, that this defence now is exposed. Forest, for me, feel like they absolutely love defending, and they are so happy to be able to just defend. And it goes against the grain, really, of what you'd really want to have in those certain situations. That they're comfortable if they're a 4 at the back and then a 2, and then they're slightly exposed with the wide players out wide. Gibbs has pressed further forward as well. So, yeah, getting into this scenario of being exposed isn't really a problem for this Forest team because they actually do really like to defend. We've got Gibbs White, who supports the striker, will press with the striker, but he's got more of a license to just literally float in and around, helping to support that midfield 3. often you'll see Gibbs White sitting on a central midfield player so that when the opposition have lost the ball or Forest have been able to break, he's that next key in the cog that can keep the ball, hold up the ball, and then you will always have those runners out wide. So it is a 4-3-3. Gibbs White then drops and helps support that three. It can be Yates, it can be Dominguez. Anderson's having a fantastic season, very combative, very strong, very athletic, has got a good range of passing on him, gets around the football pitch really well. The two wide players, pacey, quick, direct, are having a fantastic season, are finishing a lot of their chances. Chris Wood, hold-up play. He's able to peel off and find space in the box. Again, he's having an absolute unreal season. Two defenders, Murillo, Milenkovic, brick wall. So good defensively. Aina, up and down as well. He can get up and down. He can sit in that area and make up a sort of defensive area. Williams, up and down, exactly the same. Everybody really combative. Everybody really strong, but their ability to defend the box, the keeper, brilliant. It's a classic Nuno team, a team that will defend, will sit in, will enjoy having to suffer, but then know that they'll have the ability to break and be able to counter as well. So that's a little bit of an overview on Nottingham Forest, on their style and what they've been able to do this season. So I've said we're going to start number crunching, which we are going to do on this episode. So here is Aston Villa over the course of the season. And what we can see is that the purple is where Aston Villa have majority of the ball. The grey are contested areas, which basically means either or Villa will dominate in that game or the opposition will find space and dominate in that area as well. And then the pink is where the opposition dominate the ball against Aston Villa. So you can see it's quite balanced. It's not as purple as what it was last season, but you can really start to see the areas that we do look to dominate in games. We have our width that comes from this area out here. We build up out of the back, so you can see that we're very dominant through that area. We play through the middle of the pitch at times as well. So getting up to that area, we're very strong. And then on that right-hand side, it's contested. So it's either or. So from a Villa point of view, that is not a bad territorial game plan, game state of where we are. Now, we'll find Nottingham Forest now. So Nottingham Forest, let's just briefly touch over that the purple is where Nottingham Forest have majority of the ball. The grey are contested, and the pink is where the opposition have majority of the ball. So if we're looking at from a Villa standpoint, you know, this is an area that we've really got to make sure we are shutting down. So that would be Chris Wood. It would be players in the box getting shots off. So that's number one priority for Villa. But if we're talking about playing out from the back, this would massively please me. And also this area would massively please me as well, of getting a lot of joy out there. This area, they're very strong with Aina. So, you know, we've got to make sure we're trying to push Aina back, stopping him from going further forward as well, and then try and win that battle on that right-hand side. But this paints a picture to me of what I've been seeing from Nottingham Forest this season. They don't have the ball. They don't have the ball in majority of the games that they play, but they are very effective of what they do. They sit in, they dig in, they defend, they hit teams on the break. They are exceptional at doing it. But if you have majority of the ball and you are creating chances, then I would rather be in that situation of having the ball, having our set plans, dominating the ball, and expecting us to create sufficient amounts of chances to be able to score in games. So that's a little bit of an overview of where you can expect the battles to be on the football pitch. This is over the course of this season. So, you know, I imagine Nottingham Forest fans, you know, they're fully aware that they don't have possession. They're fully aware of what they are. They're fully aware of what they do. So for me, it's about what we do with the ball, utilising the ball, taking our opportunities when they come, because we will get opportunities, because, you know, we're a really good team, especially at home as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a little bit of a number crunch then, and we'll have a look at some of the numbers behind what we've been seeing so far this season as well. And so here we've got the average possession of both teams so far this season. So Villa are sitting in this area. We're having an average of 51.48% of the ball, and Nottingham Forest are the league lowest with 39.56. So that shows a little bit about their style of play and what they are and how they want to go about things and how they want to play. We are the league leaders in another metric. Well, Aston Villa are the league leaders. Nottingham Forest are a place below. And this is set-piece goals scored. So Villa are on, we're on 117 shots that we've had. Forest have had 117. Villa have scored 13 set-piece goals, and Forest have scored 12. Shot percentage, very, very close. Goal percentage, Villa is slightly higher on 31.71, and Forest is at 24.49. So, again, it shows that both teams are very good at attacking set pieces. So, Austin McPhee, you know, do your magic again. Here now, we have set-piece goals conceded this season, and Aston Villa have conceded 6 goals from set pieces. Nottingham Forest have conceded 7. So again, it shows that both teams are pretty solid at defending from set pieces. So both very, very similar. We've faced 89 shots and they faced 106. So again, from set pieces, very similar, very strong. Milenkovic, Murillo, really good in the air. So you would expect them to be solid in those areas as well. Next up, what we have got is we have got goal conversion rates. So here we can see that Aston Villa have a goal conversion percentage of 12.78. Nottingham Forest have one of 8.91. So this is really, really interesting. And it's kind of what I expected when I've been watching Forest this season. And when I've been talking about earlier on in the episode about Forest defensively loving being able to defend. Have a look at this per 90. Nottingham Forest per 90, 29.24 clearances per 90. Nearly 30 clearances a game. And you compare that to Aston Villa at 18.69. And then probably the league's best is on Man City at 15.45. We've got ground jaws 52.07, 50.47. Villa in the 52s for ground jaws and 48 for aerials. But that 29 clearances per 90, that is so high. That is so high. I can't believe how high that actually is. And then we've got one here, another one, which, again, plays into what you expect with Nottingham Forest. Forward passes, 39.55. And that shows how direct they are, that the majority of their passes are going forward. Compare that to Villa at 29.42. We go into the left at 27.26 and 27.76 going to that right-hand side. Forest get the ball, head up, forward, and then they're looking to drive and they're looking to exploit at the same time as well. And then finally, the stats as well is that I was really looking at crosses, and the crosses for Forest are fairly low in the grand scheme of the Premier League, 9.97. Aston Villa are at 10.03. We've got through balls, 1.41. And then we've got 2.31 for Aston Villa. So a little bit of a stat pack to just have a little look at the grand scheme of this season and what happens. And really, like when generically you're thinking of Nottingham Forest counter-attacking, going forward quickly, how they're playing. Like a lot of these numbers that I've showed you today sort of back up how they play and what they really want to be able to do as well. We've got a passing network from both teams, really. So, and this kind of will show you the difference between the two teams, the two styles. So Aston Villa build up from the back, expansive, getting it out, getting it controlled, dominating the game. And then here we have Nottingham Forest, who are just very hands-on approach to defend, move out of your position, get very, very narrow at times. And, it's very long. You look at the distances between passes, it's quite long. There's no real little intricate networks. We go back to the Villa one and you've got little triangles, intricate work into Boubacar Kamara. Triangles are very, very important when building up a passing network, whereas Forest is very much penetration and get it further forward. So again, you can really see the difference between the two teams, the two styles. So here we're going to have a little look at this in screen grabs of what we can expect and what we've really got to avoid. But again, you can really see here now, when you were looking at that passing network against Manchester United, how narrow Nottingham Forest were. If you're able to pick out that and work into these little pockets of space and sort of try and stand up that back four at times and get runners running off players, then you should be able to work out some openings. Again, we can see that they are defending the 18-yard box very well. They are very tight. There's a lot of bodies there. There's a lot of players that are standing up and wanting to block things. We've got another image here that shows that again, dominating the 18-yard box. And then we've got areas that they excel in and they do really well. We can see here now, this was against Ipswich, that we've got a 3v3. And you really cannot get into this situational scenario against Nottingham Forest because this is their ideal game state. This is what they want to get into. And it's something that has got to be avoided. Again, the ball has been sucked into this area. Gibbs White has been able to pass the ball out to this area. We then see a ball that goes into that channel and Chris Wood's able to score. But again, you've got that three in there that are looking to do the damage through there. So, we've got to watch that if we are in these situations, that we winning the ball back in that given scenario as well. And then we've got another one here where there's been an opposition corner and then Forest are able to break. Alanga, he'd got the option to pass it through there, but he went on his own. But again, you shouldn't really be scoring from this situation when you've got three players that are tracking back. Someone's got to take that tactical foul and just take him down. But it's easier said than done. But we did score a very similar goal to this, actually, against Brighton. This was the ball sort of over to Alanga. We scored the one that was to Marcus Rashford. So very sort of similar goals that we both scored in our last round of Premier League games. So, yeah, that's a little bit about Forest. I wanted to do something a bit different. I think sometimes I'll go a little bit more in depth on the opposition, but I thought if we bring some numbers to the table today, it's interesting. It's probably something that some of you might not have seen, so it highlights. But I think it does sort of, paint a bit of a picture of, sometimes what you can see with your eyes and what I see with these images, I see on that tactical pad, and then sort of looking at some of the numbers and the passing networks, you then it all sort of comes together, really. So, yeah, so what we'll do now then is we will predict the Villa lineup and we'll have a little look at what I think we're going to be able to do personnel-wise and what sort of lineup we're going to be going with. Right, so I kind of did get Rashford starting up front and Ramsey on the last one, so that was pleasing. Right, so Villa lineup then. I've got a couple where, I think with these lineups, what we've got to remember is that we've got a lot of games coming up, and when we think of a certain player playing, then sometimes there will be a bit of rotation when we don't really expect it. So I'll put the team that I think I'll do my definites first. So I think Digne is a definite. Konsa is a definite. I then also believe that Kamara is a definite. We've got Tielemans, I think, for me, plays. Rashford is going to start this game. I think Ramsey starts. So I think, again, Ramsey played well. I thought Rashford was very good. So I think those two start. Rodgers will be playing as well. So we've got Rodgers in there. Rodgers, never not plays for Villa under Unai Emery. So Rodgers will play depending on where he goes. So I think those are sort of like my definites. My other ones that I'm sort of thinking I'm not too sure on is Pau and Mings. I think, yes, we want a settled back five. That's a given. But we know that Unai does rotate his defenders. And I think if I'm looking at benefits of both, Pau's passing range, unbelievable. Mings up against Chris Wood, Murillo, Milenkovic. But we're here to focus on us, aren't we? So I've made the decision myself. And I'm going to go with Pau Torres because I think playing out from the back, finding that pass to Tielemans is going to be absolutely crucial. So I've sorted that one myself. Then we are going to go on the right back, Cash or Disasi. Cash came off with a bit of a knock. Disasi could play for his physicality. I think I'm going to go, to be honest, guys, I'm going to go Disasi, I think. Just because if I'm compensating with Pau, then I still want that bit of physicality. So I might go with Disasi. That should allow Kamara to be a little bit freer in central midfield. So I'm going to go with Disasi. And then I'm also going to go up top with John McGinn. Because what I want to see, because the Forest midfield is very combative, very strong. And if McGinn could drop into this midfield, we then have Rodgers that can help support a little bit as well. So I think that's what I might go with. But the only problem is if Rodgers goes in here, we've got no width on the right. Right, scrap that. It's going to be Cash. Right, we're going to have to go with Cash if we're going to go with McGinn. So I'm going to go with Cash to start, or if it's not Cash, then it'll have to be Garcia because I want to see McGinn dropping in this midfield. So McGinn helping out, up against Anderson, up against Yates and Gibbs-White as well. So we'll go McGinn. Then Rodgers can support. Cash can go forward. Kamara can sit in there. And then we can look a little bit more like that as well, that you've got your width on your left as well with Digne. So that's what I'm thinking then. That's the team that I've sort of settled on. I thought I've had a team in my head and then I merged it around with this one. But the big thing that I've got to say about this game is that tactically, we've got to be switched on. We've got to be set structurally very, very well. And I think up against those two tricky wingers and Chris Wood and Gibbs-White, it's so important that we are structurally set in our build-up, that we are not allowing us to be isolated and run ragged against them. So I think Unai will have a plan. Unai will know what's coming. So we've just got to make sure that we deliver and we are correct and we take our chances. And then again, you're looking at Marlon, Rashford, Watkins, Onana, Maatsen, Barkley, Bailey maybe on the bench. I mean, that bench I can't get over that bench, guys. It's an absolute joke. It's an absolute joke. And then we've got Asensio, who, I mean, look at this, guys. He's just pulling up unbelievable numbers. Premier League players across all competitions since February 9th, 2025. Most goals. Marco Asensio, 8. What a signing he has been. What an absolute signing he has been. And Asensio off the bench as well. We can take games late now, knowing that we've got all of these options that can come off the bench and impact this game. So really looking forward to it. fully respectful of Nottingham Forest and what they pose and what they are, but I do believe that Aston Villa can win this game. We've shown that we are on a bit of a roll now, and beat Forest. You're only 6 points behind them, so bring it on. Right, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash the likes, and comment your thoughts in the comment section down below. Up the Villa.